Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 384, written by No Manager 342. A radio signal to confirm a time tunnel. This happened in the mid-2000s. My husband had bought a used pickup truck that had been worked on and souped up, as the saying goes. We called it his race truck. By all appearances, it seemed to be a normal truck. It ran fast, and I'm pretty sure we drove it for a while before noticing an odd occurrence. At this point in time, every morning during the week, my husband and I drove together to a place halfway between our jobs where I would pick up a car at a friend's business and head east, while he continued north. It saved on gas. Most of our commute together was on the interstate. There was one spot in particular where something very strange happened every morning around 6 a.m. We listened to talk radio during the ride, and several miles past a way station for tractor trailers, the radio would develop static and fuzz out. When it came back on, the previous minute of the broadcast we had just been listening to would play all over again. Then the broadcast would continue as normal. The first time it happened, we didn't think much of it. Just a crazy blip in the radio signal, right? Then it happened again the next day, and the next, and on and on. Every morning, the static, and then the previous 60 seconds would play all over again. We thought it must be the radio station having issues. After a while though, it went from being a curiosity to a downright annoyance. It was like having to do over a whole minute every day. We could not find a rational explanation either, but it was somehow tied to that truck. If memory serves correctly, I think it did happen with another radio station one time. However, it did not happen in any other vehicles or near any other way stations. It continued to occur like clockwork for as long as my husband owned the truck, but after he sold it, we never experienced the repeating minute again. That particular stretch of interstate does seem to possess some kind of time anomaly. It's like an inverse of Einstein's theory. For about a 25-mile stretch, which includes the way station, I have noticed the faster I drive, the longer it takes to reach my destination. Conversely, the slower I drive, I make it with time to spare. I have monitored the clock against my speedometer, and even allowing for morning traffic, this still bears out. My husband and I call it the time tunnel, and I have been on time for work many mornings, thanks to this anomaly. Past that 25-mile range, however, it's back to ordinary laws of physics, so you better step on it. Case file number 385, written by PMPunsandSeaShanties. When you plant bell peppers but receive melons? A few sprinkled weeks ago, I was cutting bell peppers for dinner. My 12-year-old asked if he could plant the seeds because the gardens were empty, awaiting fall planting. I gave permission for him to use the bed on the right and watched him plant them right away. I thought about how bell peppers weren't part of my plan, but it's okay. I'm tardy on planting anyway. So the weeks pass and the seeds grow. Cool. Last week I finally got around to ordering the seeds for fall planting. But it's weird. I didn't think bell peppers grow a vine. A vine is slowly taking over the right and left beds. It has curly tendrils that reach to grab onto things. It has yellow flowers. I'm very confused. Then last night I went to tell my 12-year-old to go look at his bell peppers because there might be some fruit by now. We go together and discover melons? What? There are cantaloupes growing in my garden. We don't throw garden seeds in there willy-nilly. I carefully plan the beds. I watched him plant the bell peppers. We don't even buy cantaloupes more than once or twice a year, and I usually buy them already cut. There's enough plants that it couldn't have been an accident. Right where he planted the bell pepper seeds, moments after I cut them open, are melons. So I have no idea. Here's a couple of extra points. I live in the desert. There's no squirrels here. There's a few birds and certainly not a ton of other gardeners. I don't compost. The soil is old, several seasons, and I carefully plan it out so there's little room for a volunteer. Case notes. File number 385. It's not quantum immortality because your son still remembers planting bell peppers, so there is some anomaly happening in your original universe. You didn't cross over to anywhere. And it's not something that happens often. I mean, I've never even heard of this happening to a farmer, and they plant thousands and thousands of seeds, millions even. If this was a common glitch, you'd hear it more often. Even from amateur gardeners, I don't hear it at all. My mom has a garden herself, and this has never happened. And I have to say, although I like bell peppers, cantaloupes are just superior. They are the best fruit. Maybe watermelons are a close second. Case file number 386, written by Scatall, 92. The weirdest neighborhood you've ever seen. So I moved here around 7 months ago. My house is in a square with 8 other houses all facing towards a small patch of grass at the front. The first day we got the keys, we met our next door neighbor, Janet. She was standing outside her front door when we walked up to the house, almost like she was waiting for us. I see Janet a lot and speak with her often. I'm sure she is a real person. I've even met her adult daughter, and I've seen Janet around the local area. A few days after moving in, a courier knocked and asked if I would take a parcel for the people on the other side of the square. I thought it was strange that he had knocked on my door rather than someone closer, but I obliged. A man came a few hours later and asked if I had a package for house number. I gave him the package, and the man introduced himself as Mark. I haven't seen him since that day. Other than those already discussed, I have never seen another person on the square, even my next door neighbor on the other side. I have heard noises from them, but I've never physically seen them. I am home 6 days per week, and my husband is home the other day. Neither of us has ever seen anyone. I can see all of their front doors from my house. A week ago, I was chatting with Janet. I asked her how long she had lived here. She said 24 years. This is definitely true because I have at least one mutual acquaintance with her, and they have verified this. I asked her if she knew any of the neighbors. She said she didn't know any of the neighbors at all. Janet is a very friendly and warm person, and she is very chatty, so it just doesn't make sense for her to not know any of our neighbors, at least casually. You might be thinking that all the houses are empty. This is not the case. The hedges at the front of the houses are all maintained. The windows are clean. The flower beds are looked after. Then yesterday, I saw a man on the grass. He was in the middle of the green, carrying a laptop bag. I watched him walk into one of the houses. Then an hour later, I saw him again, still carrying a laptop bag. I saw him in the middle of the green and watched him walk into the same house. It really felt like a glitch. It was the exact same sequence, twice. Tonight will be Halloween. I was hoping to take my kids around the square trick-or-treating and also use this as a way to see if any of my neighbors exist. Not one house has a pumpkin or any decorations, which means it would be rude to knock on the doors tonight. I'm honestly starting to feel crazy. Edit. Tuesday night we put our bins out from 6 p.m. onwards. I'm going to stake out. I'll let you know what happens. Update. So tonight I built a blanket fort in the toddler's bedroom and we watched movies. Their room overlooks the green. I sat by the window and watched out for my neighbors to put out their bins. And sure enough, they exist. I saw a laptop bag guy, an old woman, a woman coming out of the house where Mark lives. Maybe a wife? I didn't see anyone else, but now at least I know I do have neighbors. I will definitely be writing them all Christmas cards this year. I do wonder though, why did the laptop bag man repeat? Case file number 387, written by stargentle, a onesie glitch. Last year, I bought a skeleton onesie that glows in the dark. I wore it to my friends yesterday, and she loved it and wanted one to wear to her work on Friday. We called the store where I got it to see if they had them this year. Yes, they said, only one left, size small. It was just returned. We get in the car and drive 40 minutes, since my friend lives out in the countryside. Arriving at the store, we immediately hit the onesie section. A peach, a devil, a sloth. No skeleton. We asked the desk, and yes, they have the one in small size there. They won't let her try it on due to restrictions. The one I'm wearing is also size small. My friend has the great idea to go try on mine in the bathroom. So we go to the mall and find the bathroom. She tries it on, and while tight and the hood couldn't zip up comfortably, she's optimistic she can make it work. Back to the store. My friend goes right to the onesie rack and holds up a pristinely folded, brand new, size large skeleton onesie. I know this is subtle and easily written off for some, but we had thoroughly searched the area. The employees had also looked for us earlier. It's unlikely someone was carrying it around with them for an hour.